Hi friend, today I'll be reviewing the recent PG-13 horror movie Ouija. And if you've seen Ouija, definitely let me know what you think of it as well. Ouija is about a group of 5 high school friends who use a Ouija board to try to contact their recently deceased friend. Debbie and Lainey were best friends growing up, and they used to play with the Ouija board all the time as kids. And when Debbie commits suicide, her family decides to let Lainey watch the house while they go away for a while. And while Lainey is looking around the house, she goes into Debbie's bedroom and she finds a Ouija board. And so she convinces her friends to try to contact Debbie to see what made her kill herself, because nobody really had any idea that she was going to do it. In fact, Lainey saw her that night and Debbie said to her, I'll see you tomorrow. So there's no indication that she was going to commit suicide. So the group decides to go ahead and try to contact Debbie for Lainey's sake. So the group all takes out the Ouija board, also known as a spirit board, and they all take hold of the planchette and they start using it, and they go over all the rules of the Ouija board as well, and they try to make contact. And of course, instead of contacting Debbie, their friend, they contact an evil spirit who starts harassing them, and one by one in the following days, they start being killed off. So now the surviving members of the group have to try to find a way to stop this evil spirit. Debbie's house serves for the main setting for the movie. While there are scenes outside of Debbie's house, including the school and mental institution, just everyday places, the majority of the scenes, especially the spooky ones, take place inside of Debbie's house. And of course, when they're in Debbie's house, spooky things start happening. The electricity goes out, the light flickers, there's unusual noises, all kinds of creepy things ensue. This is also the house where Debbie committed suicide and where Debbie herself initially found the Ouija board. The house does have an effective, creepy look to it, so there is some good cinematography there to showcase that. And through the group's work, you find out who the evil spirit is, the history of the house, and it all comes full circle. There's the typical cautionary character who warns Lainey not to use the Ouija board, and of course she doesn't listen and they use it again and again. There's the vague dialogue, "You can't help us. I don't know if anyone can." The twist is very predictable, there's very few kills, and the kills that are there are very weak. If I did a horror cliche count for this movie, it would be astronomical. It's a very simplistic movie. It plays off of shadows, noises in the dark, jump scares, CG effects, and evil spirits screaming. Ah! They basically took one of the biggest horror cliches and made a whole movie around it with the Ouija board here. The whole movie plays out like a big advertisement for the Ouija board. I'm surprised the movie wasn't entitled Parker Brothers Presents Ouija. It's basically a how-to use the Ouija board. The scariest scenes were shown in the trailer, so there really wasn't anything too new or fresh here that you didn't see from that. And just because the movie is a PG-13 horror movie doesn't mean that it can't be scary or have depth and originality. There are plenty of scary PG-13 horror movies out there. This isn't one of them though. I think Ouija will appeal more towards a younger audience than seasoned viewers who have seen the same scenario many times before and aren't easily impressed with generic recycled material here. The acting is pretty much average across the board, nothing detracts but nothing stands out either. And the actions of the characters are ridiculous, as always with these types of movies. You're just shaking your head like, come on, really? You're gonna do that? Come on now, that's just absurd. And there's so many scenes like that in this movie. There's really no scares here at all. If you've seen the trailer, you've seen nearly all the scares in the movie, if you want to call them scares. It's just basically the simple jump scares and lights going off and, again, like I said before, a generic CG screaming evil spirits. Meh. The script is the biggest issue here. It is just cliche-ridden, generic trash. The only good things about Ouija are the effective atmosphere and score. They actually at times create good mood and tension. Unfortunately, everything else about this movie falls flat. The intro, the twist, the final scene were just so predictable, as was the whole movie. Ouija is a small, cheap, cliche-ridden, formulaic, predictable, uninspired, unimaginative, and forgettable movie. Ouija is one of the most bland and generic horror movies I've seen in a long time. Overall, it's just a giant disappointment with just cliches left and right and just things that you've seen so many times before and done better in other movies. Nothing stands out about this movie. It's just pretty much a boring movie from start to finish. Thankfully, it's not a long movie, so you can get it over with quickly if you do want to sit through it. But I wouldn't advise it. If you haven't seen a horror movie before, then check out Ouija. Overall, I give Ouija a 4 out of 10 stars, and if you've seen Ouija, definitely let me know what you think of it as well. Leave me a comment or video response down below. Hope everyone's doing well. Take care.